Hello, Dr. Vicki Peterson here. I want to talk to you today about ketosis. I've talked about the ketogenic diet before in not the most favorable light. I've been doing a tremendous amount of research into this for a couple of good reasons. One is that we definitely recommend for our patients that they do about a 12-13 hour fast at night, which basically means there's 12 hours if you want to keep it simple. If you eat dinner at 7, 8 o'clock, then you don't eat breakfast until 7, 8 o'clock the next morning. So it's an easy 12, 13 hours to accomplish, and there's a lot of benefits to that. So I started looking into really what ketosis is all about and ways you can achieve it, in my mind, healthfully. Meaning, if you, I think, ask the typical American why they're doing a ketogenic diet, a lot of people will tell you to lose weight. They might also talk about clarity of thinking and feeling a little sharper, which of course is great. And of course there's nothing wrong with losing weight when you have weight to lose. However, a lot of people are doing this in not the right way. So I've talked about this before. There's definitely a right and wrong way to do it. And then really, as I did a lot of research, found a very interesting biohacker, and I'll get into that, who has really achieved the ability to be in ketosis all day, eat what I consider a healthy dinner at night, and then get right back into ketosis the next day, even though you've eaten healthy carbs for dinner, meaning you're no longer not able to eat root vegetables and beans and legumes and things that I think are very much lacking in a diet that doesn't allow any carbohydrates other than a little bit of greens. And don't get me wrong, I love my greens and I love them for you as well. But there are so many benefits of things like beans and legumes and other root vegetables that it is not healthy long term to rarely eat these things. You've also got sort of just the day-to-day effort of what it takes to maintain ketosis the way a lot of people are doing it. So one, they're using a lot, in addition to high fat, what kind of high fat? So if it's butter, beef, and bacon, you're also getting a lot of protein, which is countering what you really want to do with ketosis in the main. And we'll go into what we're really trying to accomplish with that. Now there's avocado and there's olive oil and some coconut oil if you do fine with that, and nuts, and these are very healthy, but then there's the unhealthy side of the fat, and I'm not a fan of dairy products and therefore butter, and of course bacon is a known carcinogen, those types of processed meats. So there's right and wrong ways of doing it, and the people that I run into, and maybe you see this yourself, that are doing ketogenic diets are really loading up on the heavy cream and the butter and the beef and the bacon and a variety of foods along that line. And there's really side effects to that. So what is ketosis about? A lot of Americans will again say, lose some weight. Again, that's fine. But it's about a lot more than that. So getting in a ketogenic state actually increases longevity. It turns on your longevity genes. You have longevity genes, and if you're getting in a ketogenic state properly, you're literally turning them on. It is very protective against cancer. It's protective against vascular inflammation, meaning heart disease and other types of inflammation. It does something called autophagy, which is where your body is cleaning itself. So of course that's part of longevity. So you've got damaged cells, you've got damaged organelles, you've got malfunctioning parts of the body. It's just like a really good cleaning system. It's like the most perfect housekeeper in your house if you call your body your home. And so just cleaning up the bad stuff and getting rid of it, and then making room for good, fresh cells, fresh production, which is what stem cells do. So it's quite the process when done correctly, and that's what I want to talk about. I'm going to look at my notes a little bit here, so you'll see my eyes going down a little bit. It's a very efficient use of your fuel. So and weight loss. Now, how does this happen? It's really comparing the fed state, eating, versus the fasted state. So of course, we need to eat. You need to be in that fed state part of the time. Problem here in America and a lot of industrialized countries, we're just fed way too much, and it's creating a lot of degenerative diseases, fatty liver, diabetes, cancer, this overfed, undernourished kind of situation. But in the fed state, in its proper form, there's a substance called MTOR, so small m and then capital TOR. It stands for the mammalian target of rapamycin. Very ridiculous name, but that is the name that has stuck. And what's that about? So if you're fueling MTOR, if MTOR is moving forward, is the way it's described, then you're building, and this is good, right? You want to build your body, especially after a fasted state. So you're laying down mass, you're building muscle. Now this laying down of mass, interestingly enough, turns down your longevity genes. Okay, but we still need to eat. So that's what the mTOR forward does. It's creating insulin resistance, which is not a good thing. You know, that's sort of moving you toward gaining weight, moving you toward diabetes potentially. But again, you're not doing this long term, but you're laying down of mass, you're building, you're storing, getting ready for that fasted state. Now, what does it? The types of foods that do it are the carbohydrates, not the green leafies that they don't tend to do that, which is why if you're eating in a ketogenic state during the day, you can have green salads with olive oil and seeds and avocado and things like that, and that's totally fine. But the other carbohydrates, the higher carbohydrate vegetables, and of course fruits other than berries. So it's really the greens and the berries that are the allowed fruits and vegetables. Otherwise, carbohydrates are pushing mTOR forward, and so are branched chain amino acids. So that's why if you're really trying to get into this longevity state and this self-cleaning state, if you're eating all this high protein, it's not really going to be your friend. Now, we'll talk about later, if you're somebody who wants to be in ketosis and still build muscle, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. You don't have to not build muscle. But if you're somebody who's getting a little bit older and you really want to get that autophagy, that cleaning house and ramping up those longevity genes, then you don't want to do any major protein during your ketogenic part of your day. So what we're going to be discussing here is just doing it part of the day and then not doing it at another part of the day, but still getting all the benefits, which is totally cool, I think. Now we go to the fasted state. So in your fasted state, you're blocking mTOR, okay? So now what you're doing is you're increasing your longevity genes, you're decreasing your incidence of cancer, you're once again increasing this autophagy, this self-cleaning, and there's nothing more anti-aging than good self-cleaning. Yeah, so those are the biggest things that it does. Oh, you're breaking down your fat storage, hence the weight loss that you see. You're breaking down your sugar storage. So you're just really efficiently using your energy that's been stored, and that's why the clarity of thinking occurs. That's really great. You've got great energy, even though you're not eating much, you're just eating fat. So that's how that whole phenomena happens. But it's not just about the weight loss. It's about these lot of complex processes that are occurring that are really, once again, cleaning house with that autophagy. And to break that word down, it's auto, meaning self, phagy, eat self. Sounds a little disgusting, but it's good because you're eating the bad stuff in self. You're not destroying good stuff. You're eating the old, dying, decrepit kind of stuff. What else do I want to tell you about? Oh, so it's interesting because what naturally promotes this blocking of mTOR is a plant-based diet. So that's really interesting. But how much, etc. What we're talking about here, I'm about to talk to you about this product. I did not design it, not that smart, but the person who did, a little biohacker, he's pretty brilliant, and he took all plants, all natural sources in nature, and put them together in a synergistic form that blocks this mTOR and gets you into ketosis really fast. We're talking about 20 minutes. Typically, people are told you get on a ketogenic diet, 2 to 4 weeks later, you'll start kicking out ketones, but then, boy, you make a little mistake and then you're out. You're out of the game, and then you start all over again in 2 to 4 weeks. This is something that gets you there in 20 minutes, and you can do it daily by just this natural supplement, and it's a liquid, but I'll get into that in a second. What else do I want to tell you? So my big problem, I think I told you about the diet. So yeah, my big problem is that watching people do high fat, but not the right quality of fat, and then including all this protein, which is really moving you away from that longevity aspect, because as soon as you've got too many amino acids, you're moving away from it. So this product, it's called Keto Before 6, and the biohacker who created this is Dr. Christopher Shade, like a shade on a window, and his company is Quicksilver Scientific. So he's a foodie by nature. His claim to fame was he started his laboratory. He became an expert in mercury and mercury toxicity. And then he's a foodie, as I mentioned. He loves to eat, yet he wants to be healthy. And so at one point he really started gaining weight, and he wanted to look into ketosis, which he did, but he didn't like this whole, you have to do it every single day, and then of course you have to take some breaks. Dr. Mercola wrote the book Fat for Fuel, and he learned very much the hard way that if you don't take a break and you have to push mTOR again and get some fed state going, or you'll get pretty darn sick. Dr. Mercola got very wasted looking, very unhealthy looking. And he's like, okay, you cannot block mTOR all the time. You need to take breaks. And so this product is a liquid. You take a teaspoon first thing in the morning. It tastes like cinnamon. It's got a variety of natural substances in it. And then in 20 minutes, you're kicking out ketones. And during the day, so the before 6 was his little nod to have a life, and after 6 p.m. eat whatever you want. Now, I'd like to say, no, don't eat whatever you want, but this is the time that after 6 o'clock you can eat those root vegetables and those beans and the things that are these good carbohydrates that would get you out of a ketogenic state during the day. So that's what I like about it. And honestly, I have been looking into this for quite a while and just stumbled across a Dr. Shade, and this product is pretty new, and it's very, very interesting. It's not like taking bile salts, which will sort of just put ketones in your blood. It's like a fake ketosis, or enough MCT oil will sort of put ketones in the blood, but it's not really doing all these in-depth processes that you want to do. This is not fake. This is literally upregulating the whole process really fast. Now, it's you also eating the good fat, and then any carbohydrates are really not low in carbohydrate, like the greens, big salads. You can put berries in your smoothie, that kind of thing. A little bit of protein, but not the branched chain amino acids like you'd see in meats and certain protein powders, things like that. So low branched chain amino acids, really high, good quality fat. Again, your meats, your nuts, your olive oil. What else? Avocados are wonderful, avocado oil. So these good healthy fats that make you feel wonderful and are not clogging your arteries. And then you do that till 6, meaning or dinner time, whenever dinner time is, and then you eat the more healthy carbs, as I mentioned. If you've tried ketosis, you might have experienced keto flu or keto rash. So what's that all about? So we have a nice solution for that as well. And so if you get into this sort of flu-like state, then you're achy and you feel sick. What that means is that as you've mobilized your fats, you've mobilized the toxins in the fat. And so there's a binding supplement. It's charcoal and a number of other different binders that basically just glom on to these toxins you mobilized and pull them out. So you take the Keto Before 6, it's a 1 teaspoon first thing in the morning before you've had anything to eat, and then 30 minutes later you can take what's called this ultra binder, which will just attach to all the toxins that you've mobilized. So you can see I did this. I don't think of myself as a toxic person, but I started and I felt amazing the first, I don't know, 5 days or so, and all of a sudden I'm like, wow, everything hurts. I felt not super sick, but definitely achy. I could definitely tell I was toxic. So then started using the ultra binder. So first thing in the morning, a teaspoon, 30 minutes later, a little bit of ultra binder, then the high fat throughout the day, and again, some berries, greens, and then about like 3:30, 3:34 afternoon, another teaspoon, 30 minutes later, more ultra binder if you need it, okay, if you're having this sort of feeling. And then 6 o'clock comes, dinner time comes, and enjoy yourself, okay? Within, not the way Dr. Shade enjoys himself, he's a little crazy, but enjoy yourself healthfully with good carbohydrates. And then there's also a keto rash where you just feel really itchy, and same kind of problem. It's bile salts being pushed out into the skin, so you're overwhelming your liver's ability to deal with these toxins. And there's something in the product that just helps bile mobilize, because it's very important that bile is fluid. One of the problems and stumbling blocks for health, not just to mention staying in ketosis and feeling okay, are endotoxins. So if you follow me at all, I talk a lot about the gut and making sure we have a healthy gut. And so this is where bacteria in the gut, parasites, yeast, fungus, a whole host of things can really get in your way of this being as functional and as optimal as possible. So certainly working with someone to make sure the gut is healthy is another part of this. But as I said, I've been really looking into this for a long time because I had talked about Dr. Longo's book, The Longevity Diet, and he talks about the 12 to 13 hour fast every day. And that's a natural way to get into some degree of ketosis because, of course, you're fasting. So nothing's coming in, so you're blocking MTOR, and that was good. But to really upregulate it and to kind of really fire it up with a rocket under it, this product takes it to a whole new level. It truly is a biohack. But again, so what's in this? Cinnamon, quercetin, milk thistle for the liver, something called DIM. There's adaptogenic herbs. It's quite the process. And the other key thing is, like, how does this work in 20 minutes? It's what's called a nano emulsion. So it's a liquid, and a nanometer is a very, very small particle, and so you hold it in your mouth for like 30 to 90 seconds, and it just goes whoosh, right into your bloodstream, just through the mucosa in your mouth. And it's that delivery system that's so brilliant. And Dr. Shade, again, is the author of this delivery system. So I'll be talking more about this, but I wanted to give you my current state of thought on a ketogenic diet, and there's a lot of positives to it if you do it correctly. And the heavy cream, the butter, the erythritol as an alcohol sugar, I disagree that that's the way to do it. If you want to have an occasional dessert with erythritol, or I'd prefer maybe stevia or monk fruit, sure, but some people are just sort of living on these fat bombs, and they're just full of butter and heavy cream and erythritol, and long term I'm not seeing that as a benefit. But as far as ketosis, huge benefit, huge anti-aging properties, but there's a way to do it right. So if you want more data on this, please reach out. If generally speaking you just want to improve your health, please reach out. That's why we're here. And give me a call. We can do a consultation. The telephone number is 408-733-0400, and the website is rootcausemedicalclinics.com. I'll talk to you soon.